Welcome to Creative Teacher Librarian, inspiring and engaging with efficiency. Today I talk to Takatsu, author of Second-Hand Memories, the very first English language cell phone novel.
Okay. Can you briefly describe what a cell phone novel is?
Sure. Cell phone novels is a way of fusing poetry and narration together. And what it is back like 10 years ago in Japan, they started writing novels on their cell phones. And because how the cell phone screen is shaped and also how many characters it can contain, all the chapters are really short. And using the Japanese blogging style, which is a lot of line breaks, it started to look more like poetry. So when they got popular, it got popular there, and then publishers picked it up and started publishing these books that young authors are writing. So I saw that and I brought it over to North America. And basically, for an English cell phone novel, each page is around 200, actually around 100 words, but less than 200 words. So it fits all within a very small frame. And you use a lot of line breaks, and it sort of reads like poetry.
Okay. So text novel is the platform that you're on? Well,
Yeah.
You're on a lot of platforms, but you're on text novel. Now, did that come here and you were the first writer for it?
Yeah, so Text Novel was the first site that recognized the cell phone novel technology and this literary movement, and I started the first one on that site. And so it's really about serialization, online serialization, while using a special literary form, which is the poetry style novel.
Okay, so I've been reading a couple of your novels, and there's this repeating theme of conformity and routine. And I was wondering if there are any autobiographical reasons for that.
I think there is. Well, we all go through school all these years of our lives, and it's always the same schedule over and over again, and that continues on throughout work as well, 9 to 5s. And so that's sort of the life that I don't really want to live, because I'm an artist. You know, I love to be creative and I love to be free. So I guess it's my spirit, it's my creative spirit in me. And also, I think I have my values set on the more metaphysical aspects rather than like materialism or trying to conform to the capitalist system. So I feel like there's a capitalist system that expects us to be workers in society or in corporations and to earn money and, you know, about owning a house or having food on the table every day. For me, my art is probably my first priority rather than that.
So your cell phone and your Wattpad stories are set in Japan.
Yeah.
Why?
I've always been. I think it goes hand in hand with that creative spirit and wanting to break free of my environment. So in a way, I was seeking for outside sources of influence, and I really liked Japan a lot. And I sort of grew up on Japanese culture and entertainment. And to me, it really connects to me on a deeper level, because I feel Japanese culture is about the spirit. There's a lot of spirit of, you know, perseverance and fighting for your dreams. It's conveyed in like almost all their entertainment, every story they have, all the songs and music. It has that Japanese culture in it, that perseverance, and also they're really sentimental. They really, you know, hold on to memories and hold on to relationships. And like actually, when you go to Japan, from like their education system, like when they're kids, like kindergartens, they're taught and trained to work together and like really well, and they're sort of taught to conform in their box, like for all classmates to need to clean the room after school together and so on. Like there's certain like really strict rules, but at the same time they encourage creative growth. So it's sort of like a juxtaposition or a contrast. They encourage growth while maintaining or teaching them discipline. There's a lot of interesting things like that. It's really deeply invested in their culture. And also about relationships, friends are like family. They have like sort of like a samurai code, you know, like they camaraderie. How do you camaraderie?
Sure. Actually, personal question here. When I've seen how many words, how many thousands of words you've written already at your tender age, I really do admire your discipline, and I was going to ask if that came from music. But so where do you see that discipline coming from?
I think it's the drive, it's the creative spirit. Like, I want to pursue my dream. I want to create art that will touch people. The same way that like Japanese entertainment that I grew up on has touched me and changed my life. Or like how my inspiring teachers, inspiring works that I've read, they really speak to me at a deep level. So I really want to do that for other people. I want to inspire people, I want to change lives and help people grow. So that's my core value, which drives every move I make. And I think discipline didn't come till I was more mature. Like when I was younger, I was always like scatterbrained. I'd do this and do that. But then as I grew up, I guess with the first self-help novel, that was when I stepped out of my comfort zone and I committed to something. And I saw the whole thing through. So I think it comes in sort of naturally as well, like through age. So I felt like I could handle more and commit more to something.
Was it difficult for you to express your feelings knowing that anyone on the internet could read them?
I would say I never really had that issue. Like I'm a person who always would criticize myself. As an artist, like we always have high expectations of ourselves and sort of like perfectionists. And I mean, there's times where I was in doubt or insecure, but I think when I posted it was just out of like on a whim, like just let's try this, and then no one's gonna read it anyway, right? Like that's what I thought in the beginning. I just did it for fun, right? I read a self-help novel that really touched me and made me tear up in the end, and I was like, I want to do this too. Okay, I'm gonna write my own story, and then I just gave it a try. So I didn't really think about the results or consequences. And what's funny is I find that a lot of other artists who are successful or something, they would say the same thing. Like I was just playing around or experimenting or trying out new things, and then hey, people liked it. So.
Do you think that teachers in Canada have anything to learn from the school system in Japan?
Yeah, I think since they were young, they're being trained to work with society, and like in the classrooms they would bond together very well. So each child is expected to be responsible for a lot of tasks. For example, after school cleaning, they're trained to clean up the whole classroom, be responsible for one another. Or some kindergarten kids might also be responsible to serve lunch to their classmates. Like certain people will be on duties, and they work together as a team, make sure that no one is falling behind or out of place. And I guess that it's a pretty strict structure. There's a lot of rules and that they have to follow. So what this inspires is a lot of discipline, a lot of self-control, and I think it trains them in a lot of life skills, even while they're very young. And building on this foundation, they can move on to high school and learn and explore different subjects. And so in high school and middle school, they're expected to join clubs after school. And these clubs are basically teams where they devote like all their time after school, like you said, 3 hours or 4 hours or even longer, however much time they need to get things done together as a group. So while in school in classes they're expected to follow rules, outside of school they're expected to learn a lot of what they're good at. So it's up to them what club they want to join. They can join music clubs or sports, track and field, things that we might have here too, like arts, But I guess the difference is the foundation that they're built on as little kids. They're expected to put all their effort into it, and they have that kind of training that they can do their best no matter what, and support one another as a family. As friends are like family to them, like comrades. They work together, get some things done. So every kid is just all about giving their best, and that goes through in the clubs as well, where they can start to explore what they're good at, what their strengths are. And throughout the year, there's events like club fairs and school fairs, festivals, where outsiders would come and also students would see what they've been doing in clubs and what each class has been doing. So they would work together to put on a show, performance, or their sports games, all kind of things that's competitive. So they really do their best. And for example, even making signs for a festival or making decorations for the classroom, running events, and a lot of Japanese entertainment like drama, TV series, anime, manga, they would show club activities where they have to create a haunted house for visitors to visit, or cafes like a maid cafe where they serve food and snacks to visitors. So it's a lot of creativity to think outside of the box that they're in. They have space to do that while they also understand how the system works and how to be disciplined and give their efforts. I think they try to do both things. That's why I think it's really effective. They're developing their skills in as many fields as possible. So I feel like because they have such a strict expectations and a strict a box that they're in, they're able to think outside of the box. Whereas if we give kids too much freedom in the beginning, they don't know where they want to go, and they want to try everything, or they get easily distracted. So I don't want to do this anymore, I want to switch to something else. But in Japan, they would have friends and comrades. They need to be responsible for one another. They need to give all their effort into something. So, and this kind of training, I think, it goes on throughout life. When they graduate from high school and go through university, you find that a lot of them are really creative. They continue doing art, they continue doing music, because they have that passion for it. They have the training, they have the skills, very talented, very skilled after all that practice.
Let's talk about your friends and your collaborations. So, in making Espresso Love and your other projects online, I'm just impressed by the number of multimedia tie-ins, if you want to call it. So now, can you talk to that? Did you do all that work yourself, or are some of those things collaborations?
I think in the beginning I would do things myself. Like I do music, I do the art, illustration, graphic design behind it, as well as the writing. So I have passion in all the arts, but there's not enough time to do everything. And I find that a lot of my friends are also talented. They have passion in the arts, but they don't really have. I feel that a lot of people don't have a platform to stand on. Like they just do it at home as a hobby, but how to take it further remains in question. So they may go through school and then study and get work for a company, and then they forget all about their talents or hobbies. So I'm taking this as an opportunity to bring people together, collaborate. So I find there's a Espresso Love. We're trying to do an artwork collaboration. So illustrators, painters, they can put their own interpretation towards the book, the themes in the book, because the themes are really abstract and sort of metaphysical, so they can put their own spin on it. And so we're trying to put together an artwork collaboration, which will be sort of an art book. And if there's graphics that might work for merchandise, like t-shirts, coffee cups, and so on, then we can try that as well. And also, I'll be working with independent singer-songwriters to put together a mini album, original music, or a soundtrack for a novel. And I think that would be really interesting, because if the novel is printed and released, then we can have a release party where there'll be live music as well. The independent songwriters can come and work together and perform. So I think it's about creating platforms for everyone to stand on and work together. Yeah.
So you're saying art and commerce are very compatible?
Yes, I believe it's compatible. You've got to be very tactful with it. It's easy. I think art needs to remain art. Like your ideals, you need to be clear of your ideals and your values. What are you trying to convey? What is your reason for doing art? What's the purpose of writing and singing? And with that in mind, then you can also reach out to the commerce. But I think you need to have that core. So in that sense, the core won't be corrupted towards the commerce. But there's lots of ways, like marketing tactics, like even books now have book trailers and so on. So you explore different media and marketing techniques, but the core still remains there, I think.
Yeah, I really enjoyed your book trailer for the Espresso Love. I thought that was very interesting, the way you had the different signs. And, it was cleverly done. Now, how many people worked on that?
Oh, that was just me.
Wow.
Because there's a
Fantastic.
website where you can actually put on images and then it puts it in place for you. It's actually a free
Fantastic.
service, so
What's
it's
it
great.
called in case teachers want to use it?
It's called Animoto. It's Animoto.
Oh, fantastic. So now, here's a question I have to ask as a librarian, as a teacher. Do you feel that teachers have a place on websites like Text Novel, where the cell phone novels are, or Wattpad, where the Wattpad novels are? Like, do teachers belong there, or is that a playground for teenagers?
No, I think teachers definitely belong there. I think online, we see in the more recent years that a lot of teens are writing, but there's not really much of a direction. Like fan fiction is very popular. Also trends like paranormal, like vampire series, and so on, right? So it just kind of, you just go with the flow. But I think teachers can be a part of that, help bring people towards, how to learn from writing, how to learn from reading, how to learn from interacting with one another. Like even social etiquette online, there's etiquette online that you should be able to follow, how to be polite, and so I think that there should be guidance online, on the communities online. And for example, I'm starting up a new network called Literary Fiction on Wattpad. Literary Fiction, so it's just literary fiction, Wattpad.
Great.
On Wattpad. So it's a hub that has brought a lot of professional authors together. I think, like in the beginning, before, there's a lot of really talented authors all over the site, but there's nothing to really connect them. I think we need to start connecting people online as well, and teachers can do that and be a part of that. Like writing tips, like I know you're doing that as well. I think you could have writing tips, a hub where people can learn, right?
And on an artistic note then, I mean, you started with the cell phone novel, now you're writing on Wattpad,
Yeah.
which is a much longer form, right? How did you find your writing changed when you started writing on Wattpad?
Yeah, I think this was something that I really wanted to challenge myself with. Like I've been writing cell-phone novels for a couple of years, and I've been just writing cell-phone novels. So it's all been poetic and line breaks and white space, playing around with words a lot and formatting. So it's really different. It's really different. But I think cell-phone novels trained me to be able to write prose, and because the poetic qualities or the sensitive, like the eye for rhythm or the ear for rhythm, like that intuition where. Because in cell-phone novels, rhythm is so important. Each line conveys different emotions, depending on how you break it up. How, for example, if you have someone falling down a hole, which happens in one of my stories, I would have description and then down, 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 down. So there's an actual direction, a visual direction to it. And this, brought into prose, gives me that sensitivity for the rhythm and how to convey emotions through not just words, but throughout the whole piece, throughout balance and all the techniques behind it, the nuance. And I think also my mind matured as well throughout the years of writing. You can see like some of my content in the beginning was about emotions, about people and friendship and love, romance. And as I got older, I guess my philosophies changed, and I became more focused on the self, the identity in the world around, how we fit into society, and how we should change society. So, in that sense, I graduated from cell-phone novels because I needed more words to express those ideas. So I moved into prose, which is Espresso Love. That's actually my first time writing a prose novel in a long time.
And it is long. Do you remember how many thousand words it is?
It's 165,000 words.
Exactly. I mean, it's a full-size novel.
Actually, I need to cut it down a bit. Like I was aiming for 100,000 words, but somehow it just dragged on for too long.
Yeah. Have you ever thought of going into teaching?
Yeah, I've been teaching actually for a lot of years now. I work as a summer camp counselor and I teach art classes. Even when I was like really young, I would have classes in my house with kids in the neighborhood. I would teach them art and so on. It's a really cute and fun time. But I've definitely been passionate about teaching. I think in the beginning I was not as confident with expressing myself. So I didn't really want to become a teacher because I didn't know how to teach kids. I didn't have that kind of technique or confidence yet. But now I think I'm developing that. And I'm passionate about inspiring people and changing lives, which fits in with teaching. I think we can bring up a next generation that are really capable, powerful, talented people who know their place in society and what they want to do with their future. I think we need to encourage that. Throughout my education experience, I think a lot of times we don't know what we want to do in life. And I think there needs to be a lot more one-on-one support and mentorship and exploring what your strengths are. So I definitely have a passion for that.
And so after Espresso Love, what's your next project?
Right now, I guess after writing it, I took a huge break, and because it was really tiring to write that thing. It's not only was it long, but all the content was also very complex and complicated, and I had to do a lot of research into society, history, and all kinds of things. And also, it was draining on the mind because I had to put my subconscious into it, like based on intuition and feeling and the abstract themes that and sort of metaphysical things that I can only do through feel. And so both of those are like challenged me to the fullest. So right after I took a huge break, it's like I've been only posting chapters online, so the whole novel will be up for people to read. And now, after I took that break, I'm sort of branching off into those multimedia projects like we talked about for Espresso Love. So I have character Twitter accounts and also like sequel and spin-off stories, spin-off like text messages or letters and emails that the characters might have written during the story or before or after. So those are the little things I'm doing right now. I don't think I'll be tackling a huge project really soon, because there's a sequel novel that I'm planning for Espresso Love, which is based on the same universe but different characters. But I don't think I have enough energy to do that right now. So I'll just be doing short stories. I have a short story compilation or collection, and so I'll be writing more short stories, little small projects like that.
So, what advice would you have for kids, teens, or just creative people who want to write a story on Wattpad? Like, should you start at the beginning and write it sequentially in installments as you're posting it, or do you think it's better to write the whole thing first and then post it after it's done?
I think it depends on the person, whatever they're comfortable with. For me, cell-phone novels, the whole culture of cell-phone novels is that it's real-time and it's serialized. So you're writing on the go on your cell phone and you're uploading it, and people are reading on the go as well. So in that case, for cell-phone novels, I would encourage you to write real-time, and it's sort of improvisation. You kind of go with where the characters are taking you, how the story is flowing. Sometimes when I write the novel, like I have no idea what's happening next, and you just feel it, right? You just embrace that feeling, intuition, and let it flow, let the words flow from the subconscious. So for cell-phone novels, it's more real-time. Wattpad, that's really up to you. Prose is harder to write. Cell-phone novel is more intuition-based, but prose, you really need to think and plan, or else it won't really make sense, or even each sentence needs to, in a way, like cell-phone novels, like I said before, the poetry format makes every line stand out a lot, but so does prose, I find. That when you read it and it just like, because it's all in a line, it keeps going, you have to keep reading. And if there's something that, like, it's like a stumbling block, like a part where it just snaps, that's an issue. So I think it takes a lot more conscious effort. So in that sense, it really depends on a writer. If possible, do it real time, of course, because that's really cool. But I think you really need to have conscious effort, edit each chapter, plan it out before you put it online.
I have this question to help teachers improve things for their students.
In a way, this goes on with my my studies in alternative education or quality education. But there's the idea that the grades is the most important thing in school. That's how we grade people, and we're expected to get high grades, no matter what subject and so on. So, first thing is, not all students are going to be good at everything, or good at that subject, like math or something. I'm not a math person. Okay, I could pull off some okay marks, but it's not my thing, right? I should be really developing my strengths and improving my weaknesses, but mainly my strengths should be being encouraged, right? But I didn't really feel that. I felt like we're expected to achieve high marks in everything. And why are we marking people, why are we expecting people to have grades when there's some kids who may be smarter or quicker at that subject and might get high marks doing things last minute, while some might not be as talented in that. And so there's students of different levels, I think. I think what we should be really encouraging is people to put effort into it. Like the Japanese system, effort is probably the most important thing. But each kid is a different journey, and they have a different future ahead, and we don't know what that future might be. So it's so important to have that direct mentorship. And throughout my education experience, I found that I didn't have guidance at all. Like, there's inspiring teachers, but they're like doing a speech, like they're presenting something to the whole class. But you just really need that one-on-one. Like, sometimes, in classes, the teacher might not know that I love art, or I love music, and I like to write. Like, teachers might not know that. And we're expected to, for example, in university, we're expected to write essays, but not everyone will be able to write a good essay, like, right off the bat. Then maybe that's not their strength. Maybe they can speak well. They can present an essay. They can present an essay through speech, but not through writing. So, I mean, each kid has a different approach. And, of course, they should probably learn and explore different aspects, but we need to know what their strengths are. So one thing is class sizes. I feel like we need to be more one-on-one, more mentorship. And especially in high school, when kids don't know what they want to do in the future, especially mentorship from actual career professionals. Help them know whether they want to go into this field or not. Even after university, when students graduate and they go into the workforce, they realize that, this is completely different from what they expected, and from what their majors are. So, we need to have that connection for kids. And another thing is that the effort issue. Kids should be marked on effort rather than the result.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, like, if kids aren't as good at that, if they as good as someone else in one subject, if they put on the effort, I'm pretty sure they will improve. But there's kids who will get good marks no matter what. Like, okay, I'll admit, I was one of them. I would procrastinate and then I just hand in something and it's all right. The marks are all right, so I don't have to try, right? So I think that effort is also an important focus for our system. What else?
Well, I'm kind of sad to hear that you didn't really benefit from any mentors in high school. Did you find them later on?
Throughout my life, actually, not really. There have been people who help, like my parents helped me a lot. There's a pastor or maybe an inspiring teacher. Even one right now, I'm friends with a professor, and he's really inspiring. He's like a genius, a literary genius, really. And he inspired a lot of thoughts towards my Espresso Love story. But I feel like it's not a long-term guidance going on. Most of the time, I think how I arrived at where I am now is through my own thoughts, thinking, analyzing everything and anything, and thinking behind the scenes. Like everything I see, we we shouldn't accept it on the surface at face value. Like there's always a story behind it. Each person has a story behind it. Every action has a story behind it. So that way I kept thinking about life, and that's how I arrived where I am now, in exploring. And I also analyzed myself so I could find out more about what my core values are, what my ideals, what my passions are. I think that skill of analyzing is also one thing that should be in the education system. Like kids should learn how to learn, because like sometimes I find that a lot of students would just accept things, study, like memorize, try to get good marks. That's the focus, and the good marks are for what? To get a good job in the future, to earn money, to get a good 9-to-5 job. But we should teach kids how to learn, how to think, how to analyze everything, and to come to their own conclusions. I think that's important. I know that like throughout our years in high school, we're encouraged to think, but I think it's not enough, or some kids aren't getting it as well as others.
So, thank you so much for speaking to me today.
No problem.
Where can viewers find your work online?
My main website is takatsu.tk, takatsu.tk. Or on Google, you can just type in Takatsu cell phone novel or Takatsu novel. So
Thank you so much again.
no
That
problem.
was wonderful.
That was great.